What's going on in Arizona deserves a few conversations, and I believe that lots of people have their eyeballs on Arizona. This article is from The Hill. Arizona's Smbortion ruling creates new dangers for Republicans, and I am here for it. I'm here for watching what the Republicans are doing. Are they scrambling? And they should be. An Arizona Supreme Court decision imposing a near total ban is likely to have a massive impact on the politics of the state and shows there are no safe positions for Republicans to take on Smbortion. One day after former President Trump sought to neutralize the issue by saying Smbortion should be decided by the states in the wake of Roe v. Wade's reversal, the resurrection of an 1864 law before Arizona was even a state in Arizona that will ban almost all abortion showed that the position could boomerang politically on the ex-president and his party, like all of them. Vulnerable House Republicans and Trump-aligned Senate hopeful Carrie Lake all sought to distance themselves from the surprise Arizona ruling. I don't think there's a single Republican candidate in Arizona that was prepared for the fallout of this particular decision, says Stan Barnes, a Republican consultant who's previously served in Arizona's state Senate. It is easy for an elected official to happy talk themselves and to not be grounded in reality about it. So Republican candidates are on their heels trying to figure out what's my way to talk to voters in the general election about this topic. And will voters believe me? Barnes added. Probably not, because y'all have consistently been coming for it. So why would they believe you? The Arizona court, which is comprised of entirely Republican appointed justices, ruled 4-2 on Tuesday that an 1864 law making it a felony to perform a spermortion or help someone obtain one supersedes a 15-week ban state legislators passed in 2022. That law was first passed before Arizona was even a state. Arizona Governor Katie Dobbs, a Democrat, called for the ban to be repealed. And the state's Democratic Attorney General has said she will not enforce any attempts to prosecute doctors or women under the Civil War era law. Like before Black people were, free and human, we were still like chattel back then. Trump, Donald J. Trump, former President Donald Trump was instrumental in ending Roe v. Wade. He appointed three of the judges who sat in the majority for the Dobbs decision and has repeatedly taken credit for striking Roe down. He has repeatedly taken credit for striking Roe down. Donald Trump, was instrumental in ending Roe v. Wade. He has taken credit repeatedly. Yet, ever since the Supreme Court decision, it is Democrats who have been on offense over the issue. Polls show a majority of voters oppose the bans, and Republicans have suffered a series of losses at the ballot box that have been blamed on Smbortion. The party has struggled to find a winning message when Trump on Monday said he would oppose a ban on abortions after 15 or 16 weeks. He was criticized by some allies and his former vice president for not taking a tough enough stance. Republicans need to figure out a way to align their policy with where the majority of the electorate is, and they have not done this, said Max Foss, an Arizona GOP consultant and longtime campaign worker for the late Senator John McCain of Arizona. We remember John McCain. In Arizona, which has been trending towards Democrats in recent elections, Republicans had hoped for a turnaround in 2024. The Supreme Court's actions are now leading some to reassess. I think this has the potential to be a generational shift for politics in Arizona, Foles said. We have a Democratic governor, a Democratic attorney general. This could just reinforce the trend, and it just might throw a ton of fuel on it. The end of Roe allowed states under Republican control to impose bans or severe limitations, a long sought goal for many GOP force birther lawmakers. Smbortion access is now a state-by-state patchwork of laws, is almost completely banned in 16 states, and is restricted by gestational age in 3 more. But Republicans have paid a high political price for those laws. Smbortion has galvanized Democrats, and reproductive freedom of choice has been a winning message for candidates and state constitutional amendments in red states and blue states alike. The Republican position has been that Roe was a bad Supreme Court decision. We want it unwound and we want the states to have control of the issue. And all that has come to pass. And it is politically devastating for Republicans who have wanted it for decades, said Barnes, who called it a poetic irony. I love the irony of it. They won. They won in making Roe fall, but now they get to deal with the fallout, and I am here for it. Representative Juan Ciscomani, a Republican out of Arizona who represents a district Biden won in 2020, said in a statement on the social platform, the Twitter, that a 15-week ban protected the rights of women and new life, but that the 1864 law is archaic. Representative Dave Schweikert, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing, a Republican out of Arizona who also represents a Biden district and whose seat is being targeted by Democrats, said on the Twitter that abortion should be decided by Arizonans, not legislated from the bench. Okay. How now that is poetic irony right there. He urged the state legislature to address this issue immediately. Before Roe was overturned, Schweikert was a co-sponsor of the Life at Conception Act, which was introduced multiple times and would have amounted to a federal smbortion ban. Trump on Wednesday tried to temper his seeming endorsement for letting states decide, telling reporters after landing in Georgia for a fundraiser that the Arizona ruling went too far and would definitely change. That would be straightened out. And as you know, it's all about states' rights. That will be straightened out, and I'm sure that the governor and everybody else are going to bring it back into reason, and that will be taken care of, I think, very quickly, Trump said. But Democrats aren't going to let Republicans off the hook in Arizona or elsewhere. They are trying to harness the anger of GOP led bans to boost turnout at the local and national level. Republicans are trying to contort themselves away from what they said 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, said Arizona Democratic strategist Stacey Pearson. I think Republicans are spitting out some AI generated text that makes them sound more moderate, and it's not going to fly. And that's the reason why I'm doing this story again, because we need to keep hammering them on their positions. Smbortion rights groups are scrambling to put constitutional amendments on as many state ballots as possible this year, and many are trying to make clear that state smbortion restrictions are a national issue. In Arizona, groups are working to enshrine smbortion protections up to the point of viability in the state's constitution and said they have collected enough signatures to put the amendment on the ballot in November. The folks at the top of the ticket and the folks down ticket 2 need to not stray about their record supporting women's rights and how important this is to real people and our real communities, Pearson said. Now I want to take this back to last November. Republicans struggle for a way out of smbortion quagmire. They have known that this is unfeasible, that it is unpopular, yet they keep going for it. And I'm going to keep reminding them about how many losses they've taken. The GOP's election losses Tuesday, and like I said, this was back November, underscored the political quicksand they find themselves in when it comes to smbortion. Even back then, Republican candidates tried to reframe and moderate their positions on the issue and sought to paint Democrats as the extreme heading into this week's contest. The party has found itself on the defensive in deep red and purple states alike, including Ohio, Kentucky, and Virginia, and some of the highest profile races. They got mollywopped in, and like Mitt Romney said, the more they talk about it, the worse they're doing, and I love that for them. This is an energizing issue for women and people that actually like women, so it's getting people to the polls and it's showing. This person named Patrick Brown says, you have to say, look, this isn't working. A fellow at the Conservative Ethics and Public Policy Center, we need to figure out not just new messaging, although I think that's important, but in some cases, it's going to require new positions and messier compromises than we've been pushing for. Gosh, You really think, Patrick? I want to remind us all where forced birther initiatives have been placed up and lost. It was in California, Montana, Kansas, was that Ohio, Michigan, Vermont, and Kentucky. All of these places had referendums put on the ballot boxes, and all of these places have lost. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Something else that I have been watching in amusement, I am so entertained, is watching the TradCon men tell women, the TradCon women, that they don't want them to have a vote. The whole repeal the 19th conversation that is happening over there, where these men are letting women know that they don't want women to have the right to vote. They keep whining about no fault divorce. They are basically telling women where they want women. And I really do wonder why these women stick around, but I'm just going to keep highlighting it and keep putting it in the faces of other women that these men simply don't want y'all to have a voice. And this is another reason the TradCon men are pushing more women over to being liberal. They're pushing more women to being Democrats. They're pushing more women to be feminists because these men are simply trying to say, you don't deserve a voice. And I'm here for it. So I'm going to keep highlighting it because I am totally tickled that they are so bold to tell women that they don't deserve to have an opinion or vote. Anyways, so I just came across this woman, Ashley Sinclair, not too long ago because right wing men were like cheering that women in New York were being punched in the face. And she's like, hold up. What did we do? Why? So they're getting their wake up call that these men really don't like women. And I am here for them getting their wake up call. Anyway, so that's how she came into my scope. Ashley Sinclair says, I now have men calling me a loose woman of the night and very unwise for speaking on the topic of women's birth control. It's going to be so fascinating to watch Republicans lose in November because women won't vote for them and then they'll just screech about the 19th. Repeal the 19th is defund the police for the right. So TM replied to Ashley saying, men saying that birth control is bad isn't going to be what loses us an election. We aren't running on banning it, and most women even agree that it isn't good for their health. The right isn't running on repealing the 19th either. You're just upset people are disagreeing with you. And TM should know that it is not his responsibility to tell women what is good or bad for them. Women should consult their doctors, understand that what is going on with their bodies, why some people take birth control is not that TM's business, especially if he's not taking any birth control. So what women simply want is men to stay out of their business. And the whole repealing the 19th, yes, that is going to be a big thing because women see clearly that these men don't want them to even have an opinion. This person called Right Angle News says, no, you have people calling you out for your self-serving, attention-seeking posts. If you want people to stop calling you out, start being the rational human being you were a few months ago. Of course, there are a few people who will use your takes as a way to be sexist, and that isn't cool, but stop attacking people who are on your side but choose to fight the battle in a different way. So I guess she was rational when she was spouting the exact same thing as these people, but since she has the nerve to have an opinion that might differ, they have to come at her. And that's the reason why I'm going to keep highlighting this because, yeah, women should have an opinion and they shouldn't have to fall in line, but that's what these people expect you to fall in line. Okay, Micah says, when women stop voting in communist Democrats, I'll rescind my repeal the 19th sentiments. Deacon the Terrible says, new amendment, net taxpayers only get to vote. Fantasy, but one can dream. Yeah, because I don't know what people think, but the whole taxation without representation was kind of a big thing. So now he wants to make it net taxpayers only get to vote. Okay, whatever that means. Modern Greek says, no, the men who want to do that aren't going to force women to marry them. An entire generation of women is undesirable to men. It's so much deeper than you're recognizing. So, yeah, now we're back to the whole men versus women thing. And a lot of these men are just going to push more women to the 4B or West 4B movement because they are spouting off all of these antagonistic sentiments. And I'm here for it. I'm just going to keep highlighting it. So No Soup for Noel says repeal the 19th, and he was remarking on the Ashley Sinclair tweet that says it's great that women have the right to vote. Ashley wants women to have the right to vote. This man says no, we do not want women to have the right to vote. Nicholas says, and you wonder why women are feeling alienated by the Republican Party. Yeah, that could be it because the Republican men are pushing women away. Okay, so this is the Ashley Sinclair tweet. It's great that women have the right to vote. And Joel Berry says, boo, boo women voting, boo. Philip, who looks like a colored gentleman, says, no, it's not. Y'all vote us right into communism because you're emotional ladies of the night that only care about Smbortion and whatever the TV tells you to care about. Lily says, you don't sound emotional at all. If women didn't vote, America would be overwhelmingly Republican in every single election for the rest of the foreseeable future. I don't see a problem with that. I do. I do. I like having the rights to vote. I like, not having Republicans take over and shift things into a theocracy. I personally like that. So I'm going to continue to vote and I'm going to continue to speak on how the sentiments of these right wing men are towards women. Norm says we need to repeal the 19th immediately. And he was responding to Kate asking the question, why the F do men even have a seat at the table when the topic is smortion? Clark Jackson says it's literally a national emergency, pulling women's right to vote, basically. I'm going to leave it at that. The Twitter is an amazing place to just gather thoughts. And I'm loving how these TradCon men are letting women know that you do not deserve a voice. I'm here for it. Republican men, TradCon men, keep on talking so I can keep on screenshotting y'all. Thank you. All right, jump in the comments, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.